All About Scorpio, part 51. I know it's been a month already that I haven't posted anything about Scorpios, which I love doing, by the way. I think I've been doing this for more than 2 years now, and everything is just basically for fun, okay? In any case, you do not know, my sun sign is in Scorpio, my rising sign is in Libra, and my moon sign is Aquarius. And the topic for today, I hope this is not going to be an uber long audio, but had something to do with Scorpio as the detective of the zodiac. Yes. And I could resonate with that because I do love watching detective shows or anything to do with crime shows, even as a young woman. Like I used to watch Crime Night. I think that was Discovery Channel, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I do love watching that. And I do love watching psychic detectives as well. Anything to do with uncovering the truth. Okay. And this has helped me a lot, actually, especially when dealing with toxic people. All the things I've learned, the criminal minds, right? How they are, their psychology, their behavior and all that. It did help me a lot when dealing with toxic people in the workplace. Like you already know what they're up to and, the tricks that they're playing, so that did help me a lot. And I also did some research about, Scorpio being the detective of the zodiac, and I'm going to read that later on. But first, I think I just want to share that the reason maybe why Scorpios are like detectives of the zodiac, because we love puzzles. We love to uncover mystery. We love to analyze, observe, we're also pretty much, good when it comes to observing. And in my case, like I try to do it in such a way that I mix not only my intuition, because Scorpio, they're known to be very intuitive. So it's a mix of intuition and then logic, okay? Like I need to get some facts first to back it up. And it's not just purely intuition or gut feeling and all that. So yeah, I'm going to share a story right now, which is related to the detective stuff, okay? I'm not going to drop any names, of course, because this is very personal and very private. And just to respect the privacy of the person, okay? But there's this person that I met in the workplace, okay? I used to work with this person, and the first time that this person came in, I was like, my gut feeling or intuition, it was kicking up at that time. And I said, there is something off about this person. Like, I know that there's something mysterious, And the first time that we actually talked, I told this person, it wasn't the first time, actually. It was probably the second or third time that, we really talked. And then he was new to the role. And I asked him, like, what are you doing here? And he was shocked that I said, what are you doing here? And he said, excuse me? And then I told him, like, I don't think you're qualified for this job. And he thought of it in such a negative way, but, I was just, saying, what do you mean? And I said, you're overqualified for this job. So what are you doing here? And he was like intimidated, like he was shocked with like, what the F is she talking about? Things like that. And I could sense, at that time when I told him that, it was really uneasy. And he said, can you tell me more about, like, why do you think that I'm overqualified for this role? And I told him, like, I don't know, I just have this feeling like you're overqualified for this job, because it seems that he's very, very much like he could be working as a director maybe, or, like a higher position, definitely, because of how he acts or things. And that's how the Scorpio, both the intuition of a Scorpio and observation comes into play. Like we will observe someone and we have this feeling, we have this thing, it's hard to explain, but we just feel it, we just feel it. And I told him, like, you could have been, probably in a higher position or something. Like, are you sure you applied for this role? And he said, yeah, thank you. And then he lightened up. He probably thought that I was, saying it the wrong way. Scorpios, they're kind of like mysterious and intimidating at times. But he was like, oh, okay, yeah, thank you. But, and he was like so shocked. I could sense the shock in his face when I actually told him that. And he was just about to go home, and he kept on looking at me, and it was like, well, this is weird. It's as if I could read his mind. And actually, it turned out that this person is also a Scorpio. So my birthday is November 16. His birthday was November 15. And so another thing that I'd like to share is that he is very mysterious because he turned out to be a Scorpio as well. And I found out uncovered some mysteries or some truths about this person. Of course, I'm not going to drop any names. This is very, very sensitive, but I just wanted to share this, okay? Number one, the truth that I was able to uncover from him was that because I sense like he's not really fit for the role because he acts like somebody who is in a director position or a country manager or something like that. And then he's working just like he used to be a sales agent. He used to be working for the technical support department and then sales. And then he became a quality analyst, things like that. And I don't know, I was just kind of like, I have this really this intuition was really kicking in. Like I got so mystified and, things like that. And my intuition was correct after all, because I found out that this person was actually not a sales agent. Although he became a sales agent, he worked for the technical support department. He worked for different departments. And what I have observed is that every department that he actually was part of, it will become either the account will be dissolved or something. And that is so weird. It's kind of like, this is weird. Like, is he a jinx or a curse or something? Like every department that he'll be in, it's going to be dissolved afterwards. And I sooner or later found out because, again, this is a secret. Nobody knew about it, of course. That's why I'm not going to drop any names. But it turned out that his real job is actually kind of like, think of a secret shopper, secret shopper, like when you go to the grocery, like there are some people out there hired for the job, like they act as if they're also like, doing some groceries or buying something. But the truth is they're actually observing and analyzing and watching out for some people who are probably pickpockets or doing some nasty stuff like stealing or things like that. So think of it that way. That was his real job, and he was hired by the company for that. So in order for it to become like not too obvious, of course he would go to the process of applying for the role, so that it wouldn't be so fishy, things like that. So he would actually apply for the role, and of course, obviously, he will get the role. But his real job is actually to oversee and just check how the account is doing. So he's going to learn. He'll undergo training and all that. But his main job is actually to uncover some information. And it's really, really funny because he's also a Scorpio. Because Scorpios do love the detective work, That's why this is the topic for the All About Scorpio. And that's a real example, okay, of a Scorpio doing detective stuff. So, of course, he never actually divulged that information to me. Of course not. But he was dropping some hints. I remember there was one time, because we became close friends, there was one time that he was joking around and he told me, what if we actually apply for a different call center? And he said, or come up with our own call center. What do you think about that? And if I'm the owner of that call center, you will be the manager. And there's another coworker of mine, and he said, you're going to be like this. And then we're going to hire someone who's going to act as if it's just a maintenance or something, But the truth is that person is doing a detective work. And when he said that, I said to myself, oh my God, I was right after all. I already sensed it. Like there's this, something off, like not really off in a negative way. It's just that there's something very puzzling and mysterious. And so I did my detective work, and that's how I found out. But of course, it was a big, big secret. And when I asked one of the friends that I who's a former employee of that company, who's living in Oklahoma. I know if you're listening to this and you know who you are, but I asked if that really happens. And he said, yeah, because especially for big corporations or big companies, they do hire some people for the job who would act as if they're like secret shoppers. But the truth is they do analyze stuffs and then make a report about it, and that's the major reason why the account that he actually was in gets dissolved, probably because he was able to uncover some, especially in a sales department, he probably uncovered some fraudulent, stuffs or some scams and all that. So that was the thing I've uncovered about that person. And another thing that's really, really fishy, and so it really caught my attention. Like, I know that there's something off. When I did my research, I found out that he is actually from a royal family. And that was really weird. Like, for me, why the hell are you working a call center when you're actually from a royal family? He was very low-key about it. He actually did not, of course, he was very, very low-key. And every time, I know that there are other people who's trying to ask about his background and all that. He's very defensive about it. And he would just say, nah, I just live in the province, things like that. And I could sense the uneasiness in his voice. And some of them, they already know his background, probably because of those people were actually, really interested towards him. And I even overheard it. And so I did my own research and I found out that he really is from a royal family. And I was wondering, why the hell is he working a call center? And because, that's odd. You don't need to work. And it turned out he has his own business, of course, which he openly, shared that. But what I found out is that he just basically wanted to pave his way. Not because I am from a royal family, I'm just going to be, doing this. Probably has other interests that he wanted to pursue, other goals that he wanted to pursue. Not just because this is who he is, and it's what his family really does. And so basically that's it. And it's really, really interesting because he's also a Scorpio, and he also did some research about me. He actually there was one time that he confronted me about some things, and I was really brutally honest about it, and I told him, you really are a Scorpio because, you tried to read me and I could feel it. And he said, yeah, well, we loved puzzles, we love mysteries and all that. So we kind of jive pretty well at first. He was one of my good friends as well, because most of the Scorpios are actually, mostly my friends are Scorpios, by the way, because I could really resonate and understand them. And sometimes I would tell them, I know your style, sometimes we just look in the eye and, we're just going to laugh because we know how Scorpios work, being a Scorpio as well. So, yeah. So that's the story I wanted to share about the detective stuff. Okay. So let me read this. It's from various websites that I have checked out earlier. But this is horoscope.com, top 10 careers for Scorpio. And again, one of the best careers for Scorpio, either you're a chemist, a detective, psychiatrist or psychologist, counselor, pharmacist, researcher, which is, there you go, researcher. Scorpios love to research, by the way. Surgeon, human resources auditor. Oh my God, even sex therapist? Okay, anyway. All right. So for detective, it says here, the natives of the sign are naturally curious individuals who love to discover secrets but value their privacy. That's so true. All of this adds up to someone who's good at uncovering the crazy stuff that others want to hide. Scorpion is also great at working undercover and quietly observing people and their activities. That's so true, because we're not going to tell you, that we've already uncovered a lot of information, but we're just going to keep it to ourselves. Why? Because of privacy. We respect the privacy of that person. But why do we do that? Because we love to observe, especially if there's something off or there's something very mysterious about a person. But most Scorpios would actually, they love to observe people. They love to analyze people, but they're not going to tell you about the amount of information that they know about you. That is exactly why Scorpios are known to be detectives or undercover agents, you know? So yeah, that's the job of that person I was talking to you about. He is an undercover employee. Okay, anyway, they're excellent researchers and won't give up until they have all the facts. A penchant for revenge sometimes comes in handy. Other professions that fit within this realm include private investigator, life coach, and journalist. So you might think like Scorpios are nosy, right? But no, it's just that. And of course, when a Scorpio tries to analyze, observe you, that means that there's something special about you. There's something that really piqued their interest, you know? Otherwise, Scorpios are very black and white. If not, they're just going to ignore you like they don't care. You know, that's how Scorpios are. But anyway, let me read this comment that I found online. It says here, why do Scorpios make some of the best investigators and researchers? I'm not going to read the entire one because it's way too long, but what I like about the response is this, because Scorpios usually possess the virtue of perceptiveness. This means they do not usually fall for superficial explanations, lies, or deceit of other people. In fact, they have an instinct for this, and they actually detest being lied to. They're also intensely curious of understanding the truth of any situation, not what others say, but what actually happened. And due to their fixed nature, they tend to persist until they have uncovered the real truth, not just a mere story about the truth. This is so true. I love it. Okay. And then another actually left a comment, but this is mostly like this person was talking about the Rahu, you know, some astrology stuff's already that I'm not very familiar with, but it says here in astrology, 2 signs, Scorpio and Aquarius, are called mystic sign. So generally, people born in these signs will have mystic ability to decode secrets. Well, I have both in my chart. I have Aquarius, so maybe that's why. You know, I didn't know that Aquarius, I know that Aquarius they're very curious. All the Aquarians that I know, they're very curious, okay? They ask a lot of questions, okay? But that is obvious. The difference between the curiosity of a Scorpio and of Aquarius or Aquarians are totally different. Aquarians are quite direct. Aquarians are very much obvious because they're going to ask you a lot of questions, you know? That's one of the things I've noticed about Aquarius. They're very inquisitive and, you know, very curious. So they're going to ask you questions after questions and questions after questions. But a Scorpio is different. Let me also share that to you. As a Scorpio, what we normally do is that we do it in such a way that you wouldn't notice. Okay. Again, Aquarians, they're very direct with their approach. They're very obvious. Like they're really going to ask you questions after questions. As for Scorpios, we'll do it in such a way that many things. We do our own personal or private research. Number 2, when we actually engage in a conversation with you, you wouldn't know that we're already actually trying to find out something about you, but it would appear as if we're just talking to you. You get what I mean? So that's the difference how, you know, Scorpio does their private investigation work, or they do their detective work versus Aquarius, because I also have Aquarius in my sign. So sometimes I also ask a lot of questions, right? But that's a difference between the two. So what else do we have here? I guess that's it. That's it. But anyway, I hope that you actually enjoyed this. This is not way too long anymore. I don't think I can afford a 48-minute long recording because there's so many things I've been doing so far. But hopefully you like this, all about Scorpio, about the detective stuff. And I hope you enjoyed as well the story that I shared. It's something very, very private. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to drop any, sensitive names or whatever. But that was really true. That was really true. And it's funny because whenever I tend to make that person uncomfortable, like I also kind of like drop some hints that that I already know, and their reaction is going to be like, oh my God, what does she know? What does she know? And there was one time, before I end this recording, there was also one time that I kind of I was asked to get what do you call that? Those medical cards, it's not insurance. It's we do have health cards. There you go. I was asked to pick up the health cards at our company. So I was asked a favor if I could also pick up the health cards of my coworkers. And when I saw his health card, he had two. He had two health cards, and I was like, what the hell? This is really odd. Like, he had two health cards. How come? And I know it's because he has two jobs. Again, he is playing as an undercover coach, but his real job is different. So that's the reason why he had two health cards, because it's part of his contract. Like, you're going to do this work, undercover work, but your real job is this, you know? And he's being paid in dollars and in pesos at the same time. So yeah, that was amazing. But he was pretty much, if I'm going to judge how he did his detective work, and this is just my personal, you know, it doesn't mean it's right. What I can say is that he was really good at covering that up at the first time, but sooner or later, or probably because we became close, that's why it was easy for me to really see the situation. That my perspective quite changed a little bit. So, but yeah, it was pretty good of him to do that. And it's just so funny because we're talking about detectives of the zodiac, the Scorpios, and this person I'm talking about is also a Scorpio. So yeah, so I don't know if you're a Scorpio listening to this and detective things or stuff, or you're into detectives or anything to do with police investigation or private investigation, if that is actually your hobby as well, or you're passionate about it, I won't be surprised at all, especially if you're a Scorpio. So anyway, if you have any comments, feel free to leave it down below. But anyway, that's about it. I gotta go. I need to head back and, you know, get fixed for work. All right. See ya. Bye.